Oh, welcome back to another Let Loose Dog Talk.
What's
Uh,
going on?
not much, not much. We got my co-host Gabriel from GAM American Bulldogs. But hey, we're here again, right?
Yeah, we
We
made it
go,
another Wednesday by the hair of our
yeah, man.
chinny chin chin.
That's true, man. And we were rushing it to get here too. Look, I'm still wearing work clothes. You're wearing the same thing too,
I'm
so
sweating. Uh, it's all good, but we're here though.
it
There's
is,
nowhere
it
else to be
is.
on Wednesday anyway. This is the best
Exactly.
place to
There
be
you
on
go.
Wednesday. I promise you.
Let's just share some of this stuff. We didn't even have a guest on board, kind of play it along, see how it goes. Just us. And but next week we'll have a special guest, Kind of this one I wanted to have a one on one, me and you, just talking dogs, you know, just overall dogs, breeding, bad business, whatever comes in mind.
Not the bad business.
Hey, that's a topic that a lot of people try to avoid, but I think it's a good topic to bring, to be aware of certain things and stuff, and you know, I think it's a topic that should be brought
Yeah, I
and
think it
just
is because nobody's like an exception to the rule, right? When it comes to bad business.
yeah, no, definitely, yeah. I think everybody could fall in that category, you know, um, and sometimes just deals that go wrong. Sometimes not on your behalf of the breeder, but you get customers that they're a little hard to work with, and from our profession that we do, we deal with that a lot. So there's certain ways to manage it and kind of deal with it.
Yeah, and then when you like are doing a deal like where we do what we do, and we kind of know from the gate, like, man, this already, even if we make this deal, I think it's gonna be like a problem later, right? Or
True.
you could kind of just tell. And there's other times you get blindsided, and you're like, man, I did not think you were gonna conduct business like this. I thought we
Yeah,
were,
definitely. What's up,
both on the
Martin?
same page. Martin's in the kitchen, beyond belief. What's up,
What's up,
Pazoo?
Michael?
What's
Pursue.
going on, Michael?
Yeah. Hey, I know Michael here. We kind of messaged each other this morning, and all I gotta say is, man, just watch out for him. He's doing hopefully a comeback, and so hopefully everything goes well. What's up, Foreign? How's it going, brother?
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, hey, and then this will be a good, space even for the audience if they ever had any experiences with bad business. Hey, if they want to bring it up here, and hey, you're open, guys. I'll send an invite if you guys want to come on the live, or just shoot your question in there. We'll bring it up.
Yeah, drop it in the comments.
Yeah,
What's
what's
up,
up, Rob?
Rob?
Yeah. So so Gabriel, what do you think is bad business, bro? Like, what do you think some of the points that you know relates to bad business?
Probably, you know what? Like, even if it's just like the things that come along with it, I think communication, right? Like bad communication, or just not sticking to whatever with the deal, even if it was a conversation. But if I were to say, hey, I'm gonna pick up the dog on Wednesday, June 17th at 6 p.m. All right. Now Thursday comes along, Friday comes along, and it doesn't happen, anything like that. I think it's just that's like the how it starts, right? But obviously, you
Yeah,
know,
communication is a big part,
yeah,
man.
communication is a very big part. And yeah, like Martin said, like the expectations, you gotta set them clearly because sometimes people are like, oh, I thought you meant like this, or people know. I think there is just those people sometimes they do things like with intent, right? Like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna say this, and I have no ambition or no like means of making this happen. I'm just gonna tell
Yeah,
him
pleasure.
I'll be here with this day with the money, and that's the dog I want, or whatever, right? just any kind of deals.
No, and that's true. It's happened where, you know, there's an acquaintance, you might not consider them a friend, but it's a mutual person that and you had conversations and stuff. And, sometimes those things go wrong too, where, you know, they jump on, let's say you have a litter and they jump on it and they're like, yeah, I want a dog from you. I want this. And, the puppies are born and they're calling you almost every day. But when the time comes when the dog is ready to leave, you guys set a day and now the guy is avoiding calls, messages, and all this is the communication is not there. That kind of ruins it for the breeder because he hold that dog specifically for that person when he probably had other customers that wanted that dog and he kind of pushed them off. So he lost that sale because that person wasn't transparent and, you know, communicating well.
Yeah, and then that could make him look bad too, right? Like that other person now they're like, you know what? I told him I'll buy it. And he was supposed to give it to somebody, and then they see you post that puppy for sale or something, and then they're like, man, this guy told me no, right? Because his homie or his cousin or his business
Yeah.
partner was spoken for. Yeah, that's those are the kind of things. Can I pick up my puppy at 15 weeks? I have vacation. I'll give you deposit. Yeah, those things are rough too. Or if you set the dates and like your schedules, right? Like recently you had some things going on and you were on vacation. It's like, hey, I said this day because it worked for me,
Yeah.
like because I set my whole life around these two dates. So no, it doesn't work the weeks before. It doesn't work the weeks after. It needs to be these because that's where we're at, right?
Yeah. And then but with that, sometimes it's happened to me, but I usually have a boarding fee placed in
Hmm.
the contract as well. If the deadlines pass, I have a boarding fee where it says, hey, after 8, 10 weeks, that passed and you want to pick up your pup at 15 weeks. Well, now, I'm boarding your dog for you. So there's an extra fee that you're gonna have to come up, you know. And then, a lot of customers do understand that. They're like, you know what, you're right. But like I said, communication and letting know everybody, what you're doing stuff goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you got to
Yeah,
communicate
exactly, bro.
that. You got to put that out there, let them know,
Yeah. Hey
what's
Shane, how's
going
it
on.
going?
What's up, Shane? Fernbrook said, I thought you sold that pup. Yeah, man, it happens.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, or people are like, isn't that the pup that you said you sold? And then it makes you look some kind of way, even though that's not, and it's really none of their business what happened. It's still from the outside, our customer perspective, they could, feel some certain way
Yeah,
about that, right?
that's true.
And then
Yeah.
like deposits, right, are always good. And getting stuff in writing, like when you do that, hey, maybe the boarding and whatever. I think sometimes though, we probably all fell into that where the person that we're dealing with is not really like a stranger, right?
Yeah.
It could be somebody we've either done business before, or maybe somebody we call like a friend or like a business partner or associate, right? Something. So you're like, hey, we've done this before, so it makes sense. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden,
All of a
this time
sudden
is
yeah, they ghost you
they,
and you don't hear from them and
they,
you're like, what happened, you know?
and then they're like poof, and they just gone.
Yeah. We're
Like
like, I thought we were cool. I
and
was like, all of a sudden you're not here no more. Like, that's wild.
yeah, fade into the background.
Yeah.
And that's why it's for the most part it's always good to ask people questions and kind of other people talk like, hey, I've done business with this person and it's good, but then sometimes you hear where a lot of people say the same thing, like maybe where it's bad, you're like, oh shoot, I don't know if enough people say it, maybe true,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
There's
you're
probably
right.
occasions where that isn't the case, but I think we've seen it both ways.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm a person of, I like to give the benefit of the doubt. It's if it hasn't
Yeah.
happened to me, I'll be like, no, you know what? And this happened, multiple people had come to me and said certain things about certain person. I just heard them. I didn't say anything about it. I was like, I can't speak on it because it hasn't happened to me. But then that line is crossed, and you're like, whoa, you know what? All these people said this. now it makes sense, why they were saying it. But it's a learning experience. But it's not gonna change the way I am. Like I said, I still give you the benefit of the doubt. You haven't done it to me,
Yeah.
but once you cross me, there ain't no coming back, man. That's
Yeah, then
it.
it's over. Yeah.
Yep.
And like you said, you did your own experience, right? Like, hey, I understand maybe a bunch of people feel that way. Never happened with me and that person. We're
Yep.
good. And then it does happen to you, and you're like, all right, cool. Like now I know. And
Exactly.
that's one less person on my list. So,
Yep.
you know, it happens. So Gilbert, Shane, appreciate y'all taking the time to do
No,
this each
thank
week.
you,
Hey
Shane, for
man.
jumping on the live and supporting the show. And we try our best, man. We're no professionals, but we love dogs and we like talking dogs.
Yeah, so we enjoy yapping. But no, we appreciate you guys coming on here and the comments and interacting. It's a good time. Can I get a picture of my pup again today? Yeah, that's rough. And it's like, and I know how they feel because I've been on the other end. Like when I'm the buyer, right? And I'm like, I want to see that puppy. Can I see it? And
Yeah.
then you have like a kid or a wife or a girlfriend or a husband, whatever, and they're like, I want to see the dog. And it's exciting. So sometimes it can be, but then I'm like, bro, I just sent it to you yesterday, 17 pictures. I promise you, he looks the same. But I've been in those like in that on both sides, right? Where I'm like the one taking the pictures, and then I'm being the guy asking for the pictures. Well, Dennis
Yeah.
knows. Can I get another picture? Let me see, update for my kids or whatever. They
Hey,
bother you
for
about the
sure.
pup
That
every day
that
till you
is
ask for the
true. Until you start asking for money, they start ghosting you. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
When they find out that it's not free, it's a different story. But that happens, man. And you got people, they talk to like, oh yeah, they're asking me all this stuff. They get all right, man. When the puppies get here, for sure. I'm like, all right, man, sending you all the information, and then there's a dollar sign in front of it, and then
yeah,
that's it. Suddenly, they're not interested in photos of the dogs anymore. So
yeah.
it
And then
happens. That's part of it.
yeah, and it's true. And then so you get those calls, you know, asking for first pick and stuff. But a lot of the times is, us as breeder usually, we myself always tries to keep at least, one or two dogs from a breeding I do, kind of, you know, look after them and making sure that they're gonna turn out, to be the next stud or the next female that's gonna continue, that I want to use for breeding and stuff. And so those first picks sometimes it's hard, and some customers don't understand that. Hey, me as a breeder, I usually am the one that takes first pick because this is my program. I want to continue with what I'm doing and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's some that you kind of work something out with them, and you let them take first pick. Whether they're a guardian home or whatever it is, and things work out. But yeah,
Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. Like to the first pick, I've seen where I've heard stories. It's never really happened, but I have seen where people post and where like the breeder were actually like that. I said, "Can I get first pick?" Then they give him the first pick, right? Because they had no interest in first pick male; they wanted a female. And then the puppies change and mature, and then the breeder will be like, "Hey, I've decided to change my program direction, and now I want first pick male." Now that I don't think is good
yeah,
business
yeah.
because and I've seen them try to like validate, well, oh, this is for my program. I understand that, but prior to that, you had already sold, something to somebody, and now you're saying I want to switch it out because you like
That's
maybe you should have
that's
picked
a good
later,
example of bad
right?
business there. Yeah,
And I've seen those little conversations on Facebook a few times, right, where people are saying that, and the guy's like, "Well, I offered them the money," or the girl's like, "I offered them the money back." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's the principle of it. Like you already said, I get first pick male, and that's what I got. That's what I reserve, and now you're suddenly telling me you're picking first. If you put it out there before, like normally I do it, whatever. I'm like, hey, second pick is usually always going to be available, or sometimes I'm not interested in a male. I want the female or vice
correct.
versa.
Yep, yep.
And I think sometimes people with the picks, they get them like confused. Like that doesn't mean necessarily you're not going to get what you want, because if the guy in front of you is picking for color or for size or for an eye or whatever,
Whatever it
like
is.
that's not even the one you were going to pick anyway. So you were good whether you pick first, second, third, right? Sometimes it affects it, but I know why doesn't the pup look as bully as the last picture? Yeah, and then you start taking too much pictures, like too many, and then they start
Well,
like
you
like
know,
weird questions.
yeah. Well, puppies do grow, so they do change, and a good example for that too is like if you have kids when they're born, they come out a little wrinkly too. And I don't have kids, so I don't know. But then you start taking pictures, they're 1, 2, 3 months, and they change. They don't look the same as when they came out.
They do look less bully for sure.
so,
Yeah,
so the
my kids
pups,
look
same
less
thing. They
bully.
do change. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so it does
clients
happen.
just
Clients
forget
sometimes
breeders
forget.
have human lives too. That is
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
yeah, and sometimes a lot of the breeders, like I know me and you, like we have full time, you know, jobs and careers. So that's it's something else that we do.
Yeah.
Right, it's not like everything, which is cool. That makes it. But yeah, we have other things going on. What's
Definitely.
up, Marco? Jose said window shoppers. Hey, yeah, that too. Sometimes like tire kickers. And
Yeah.
again, don't let this discourage anybody. It's just like real things what happens if you ever been on Facebook Marketplace or ever offer up or anything. People just ask you random questions like, "Is this still available?" And
Yeah.
then I'm like, "Yes." They just like disappear. Like
That's
that's
it.
why you
Yeah.
wanted to know. Like what
Yeah.
the heck?
Yeah.
Right, like
That's true.
random stuff. Like, is this one better than this one? I'm like, bro, I don't know. All I have is this one. I can't tell you. I gave it the deposit back because I wanted the pub. I regret doing that. Felt wrong. Pub didn't work out for me. Damn, Martin, instant karma. Nah, I'm just playing. No, but it again, it does happen, right? It's not like I don't think that's how you do business all the time, but in that instance,
Yeah.
that's what happened. Train yard was
What's
going
up, train
on.
yard brother? All right. No, definitely. And you know what? For
Pouring.
these occasions too, I usually when customers are asking for pictures constantly, like every day, I usually be like, you know what? Just FaceTime me. Let's do a live. Like that, you could just check out the dog, you know? And I was like, and if I have time, I'll snap a couple of pictures and I'll send them during the week or whatever. But if you want to see
Yeah.
the dogs, just call me. We'll do a live stream or whatever. And, you could see the dog physically instead of just the pictures and stuff. But here goes another thing, whether they have their eye on the puppy and you go live or you go FaceTime with them and they see the rest and they're like, oh, well, now I want that one. And it's like, whoa, that one is reserved or whatever it is.
Yeah. Or you can't now you can't change your mind. It's too late. You pick first now. That has been a thing.
Yeah.
Placing a puppy
100%.
pet home with the idea of using it and then agree to it, and then they come up without excuses when we're about to use it. Yeah, that's rough.
Yo, yeah.
Yeah, that could be rough. I think like if you do some like films like that, like and you had those plans anyway, but they never did, or like co-owns, where something goes wrong, or all of a sudden, they don't want to do that, or I've seen people where they make deals, and then a lot of people are like their families, so they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna breed this dog, or I have a deal maybe with you, and then their wife or like significant other gets involved in like, oh, I don't want you to breed the dog, or I
Yeah.
don't want you to stud this dog, or like whatever. You're like, what the? I talked to the guy that I've been doing business with, and now you tell me like, oh, my wife, my girlfriend, my husband is saying, they don't want me to breed it. It's like,
Yeah.
damn, we had a deal.
Yeah.
It's all
That's
part of
true.
the business. I've heard it all. Yeah, it's heard. I've had a person give me a deposit and drive on my street and text me I'm here, and then I came out and they left and said sorry, I can't do it, my wife is tripping. Swear,
Wow.
he was here, I saw him, saw
Yeah.
the person drive away, and he said sorry, I can't do it, my wife, she said she can't do it. I had the dog.
Man.
I bathed it. I
Yeah.
rushed home. I canceled my dinner short and I ran over here. I was getting yelled at by my kids and my wife because they're like, man, that's seriously like they can't like, and I'm like, look, it's an opportunity. It's gonna be good for everybody. Don't worry about it. And I had talked to them and vetted them for months before. I'm literally come outside with a dog and I see them just like tail lights. And I'm like, what happened? They weren't answering. I'm like, oh, something crazy. And they didn't want to call me. They just text me back like, hey, didn't, I couldn't pull the trigger. My wife. And I'm like, all right, hey, that's cool. I still even talk to that person. I don't know if they watch the podcast, but shout out to that person. We're still cool on the internet.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have faith that one day we'll make a deal. It just wasn't meant to be, but they're cool people. Other than that, I mean, I sold the puppy and went to a good home anyway, but that was crazy. So it ain't sold until it's sold.
Yeah, and that's why I
Yeah.
think, hey, talk to the wife or
Your
whoever
wife
you
made
need
the
to talk to first before.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I've had that too where like a wife and a husband, so they're on the same page. They message me separately. I have no knowledge that they're husband and wife, but they're both asking similar questions. And one is like, I want this color. And then the other person's like, I want this color. I'm like, okay, cool. They're both available. And then that person says back, like, hey, I think my wife wanted the other one. I'm like, well, I don't know who's your wife. Like,
yeah.
they're like, oh, this person. I'm, oh, shit. Or they've told me they weren't going to get it. And then they said, then the wife said they're going to get it. And I'm like, okay, sorry, the puppy sold. And he's like, oh, yeah, my wife just is going to send the deposit. I'm like, wait, you guys are the same person? Like what's going on? Which is cool. That means they both feel the same way about the dogs.
True.
So that's another thing. But I've had them where they're like against it and they're like, hey, let me convince. I'm like, bro, we did all this. And whoever you have to talk to, or your kids, or your grandma, or
Whoever it
a lot
is.
of whoever it is. Some people too, they do it like as a family, right? Or like after they lose a pet. So everybody got to say, hey, we're ready to make this happen again. So I get it, but it is sometimes it's funny, and then sometimes it's like, damn, you're like horrible. And I've had people where I'm like, let's just don't message me no more. We've been doing this for far too long, and I don't. It's been 3 years, and I don't think you're gonna make it happen. Like,
Yeah, that's true. And
yeah,
do you consider this a bad business on the customer side, where they're like, oh yeah, I want to get a dog from you, you know, and you give them the price, right? All right, you don't hear from them. Then they go somewhere else, they buy the dog cheaper, then they come back to you with millions of questions about the
yeah.
dog, and you're like, well, you never got the dog from me. I don't know nothing about that dog.
And the
And
dog
then,
looks like a rabbit.
yeah, right. And then they get mad at you because you're like, I'm still giving you my time, but hey, if you would have gotten the dog for me, I would have been there the whole life of the dog, even more if you
Yeah,
have more questions. But
a
why
hundred
don't you
percent.
ask the person you bought the dog all these questions that you're asking? You know, I feel
Yeah,
that's kind of a bad business on the customer side too, because now they just want to use you for what you know as well.
yeah, and they probably got it $1,000 cheaper or something, and now they
True.
just want all the info. Like, what should I feed him? I'm like, I don't know. That's not my dog,
Yeah,
right? And
exactly.
we still do give people information and help people, right? But it's just like at one point, like at a certain point, we got to be able to be like, it's bad for business for me because I have other people that I could
True.
be spending time with and sharing these things with that we actually do business with. But yeah, or people send me pictures of other dogs and they ask like price for this. I'm like, hey, well, this one's cheaper, and I'm like, it looks cheaper, like that, and that's what you want, then go for it. I can't tell you like you can't send me dogs and then me say like of course you should pick mine up every time, but I could refer you places, like what are you looking for, and I could,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna talk bad about anybody. I'm just gonna say, hey, I haven't personally done business with this person, but this is who I have. This is these are the dogs I like, right? Hit these people up. Um, but yeah, and
Yeah,
then
and
those are
and
the
it's
kind of customers you make the choice, right? Like, do I really want to be in
yeah.
business with them?
Yep.
I don't know, right? They're kind of haggling off the gate a little too much. What's
You
gonna
know,
happen to that kind of person, right? That kind of customer, like
yeah.
not even dogs, just any kind of customer already out the gate. It's kind of like,
Yeah,
we're
it's a
gonna
little
be
iffy.
because you're in this. We're in this. You got me. We're in this forever, right?
Yeah.
Even after the dog, whatever,
Yep.
you still got me. So, do I want to be in relations with you like that? I don't. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of iffy. I drove 4 hours to the airport, and the person missed a flight because it was a standby flight. Damn.
Damn. So
So, what happened to the
what did
dog?
you do, Marty? Yeah. Did you
You
leave
left
or
it right
did you
there.
waited? Yeah.
Did you leave with the dog, or you left it in the crate? You said puppy.
She gave it to the airline attendant, like, hold the dog, somebody's gonna pick it up.
They're gonna come back. I just don't know when the next flight is. It could be today
Yeah.
or tomorrow. He's got food and water. And then you have the ones that tell you they want a pet, but they want to breed it one time, not for business, just to have a puppy from the pet they love so much. That happens too, right?
Yeah, it does.
That I've seen that, like, oh, it's because they want it. I'm like, well, could always
Well,
buy the breeding rights later. I'll
yeah,
sell them to you later,
yeah. But see,
right?
that's where clear communication comes in place, and having paperwork that states that,
Yeah.
that hey, down the line, if you want to buy breeding rights, well, this is how much it's going to cost you, whatever it is.
Yeah, and then the like the clear expectations, right, by both parties, right? Because then they're trying to switch it up, like, well, we had this whole conversation for 6 months. This was never a thing, and now all of a sudden it is. And that's just like if we were to change it up too, like, whoa, now you're
Yeah,
saying you want to breed my dog? Like I bought it from you outright.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Martin said he went back 2 days later.
yeah.
Dang.
No, true
But
that.
you meet a lot of good people,
True.
along the way, establish like relationships. You and I started this, and we do other stuff, to this
Yeah,
day. Which is good. There's always like good people, like at shows. Sometimes you see people like who've been talking on the internet for 10 years, and then you see them at a show. You're like, hey, you're so and so, right, or
yeah,
stuff like
exactly.
that, and they're cool.
Yeah,
So that's always a good thing.
that is true. But then you got those sneaky buyers where, oh, I want a pet. They buy a pet at that price, and then they try to go behind your back to try to get breeding rights. And I know of cases where they went overseas to register the dog
Oh
because
yeah,
they were trying to. The dog was sold as a pet. They didn't have no breeding rights. Went overseas, register it, did his whole thing. I guess that registry only needed proof of parentage of who they were. Got the paperwork, bred the dog. Now there's puppies with papers. Now
yeah,
they register them in the states. So it's crazy. That's bad business. And then you
yeah.
you know just because some people don't know, but it's like, hey, this dog originally shouldn't even have papers.
Yeah, and I can see there's some instances where they probably just like oblivious to that, right? Because
Yeah,
I've had people send me dogs and saying they want to use stud, and I'll ask like, "Hey, do you have breeding rights?" You have, and they're like, "What is that? What do you mean?" I don't know. It's my dog. Like,
yeah,
can I just do whatever I want with my dog? I'm like, well, technically, but not. I don't know what you're planning on doing.
yeah,
And then I've seen where people have like gone behind other breeders' back and went to pet homes like, I know I like this dog, but that stud fee is either too much or, I don't like you. So I'm going to find a sibling of that stud and find the pet home and go to that pet home and register that dog to
yeah,
breed that dog.
yeah, yeah.
you
It's like a
know,
whole thing. Like, dang, you went through all
and
that.
then they're posting it. The breeder's like, wait a second. What do you mean? Where did you get that? I sold it with no breeding rights. And, then somebody sold, you did something else with another registry. And then it gets, pretty crazy. Again, bad business, right? Like, I don't, people don't want to be associated with that.
Yeah,
Right?
true. Hey, but give a shout out to C Duran9 in Instagram. He's just said, man, great job, guys, putting great content every week. Shout out from Texas. So hey,
Hell yeah, that's what's
C
up.
Duran, thank you for watching, brother.
Definitely the best part about breeding is meeting new people. There's a lot of good people and easy to work with too.
True that,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah, a lot of good people, you meet along the way, more than bad, right?
Yeah,
Like that's like any business. You're at work, you're in a motorcycle club, you're in a bowling league, right? You're gonna meet people that are like good and turn into like these long-term friends, and then you meet people that are just jerks, right? And you might be the jerk, who knows, right? But
yeah,
you
yeah.
just
No,
don't get along good with them, which is fine. But that's the good thing. Like I met some other people, right? They're the same thing, like, oh yeah, we talked with so and so and that, and the guy came and fixed my AC,
yeah, exactly.
yeah. So it's like, hey, now we're we're friends or whatever. Do you notice a difference when vetting families when they will FaceTime you versus text and calls? I get a totally different vibe when they FaceTime me. Yeah, I think in some cases, like maybe when they're FaceTiming, well, it depends who's feeling you or them, right? But I think like a FaceTime buyer might be probably more serious, and that means like they're gonna like spend the time and the care and the money, um, and what they're saying is true, right? Like not like, hey, you live in the house, and they're like, I don't, but I'm gonna say I do, right?
Yeah,
And then versus like a texter, some people are just like, yeah, sure, whatever, I could just text that all day. But then if you're kind of having the deeper conversations, they kind of be weird, like, because if you're faking it, it's a little harder,
Yeah.
right? If you're just trying to check the boxes to make the purchase. So yeah, I can see that. Probably have probably better luck with people, right, that are willing to FaceTime.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dennis?
No, I think so. I had my literal Frenchies, and you know, I had customers that I had one customer that we started texting, and I really wasn't feeling him, right? But he's like, "Man, are you willing to FaceTime?" And I'm like, "Oh, definitely." So, me and the wife grabbed the pup. He put us on FaceTime, and his whole demeanor changed. It was different. Now he was asking questions that I didn't expect he was asking, right? And I'm like, okay. So he was like, you know what? I want to move forward, but before I move forward, like, I want my family to have a FaceTime with you guys too, because they're gonna decide whether we're gonna move forward. Sure. Next day he called me again, and yeah, the family and the kids were there, the wife, and they said, you know what, we saw what we needed to see. We're pulling the trigger. That same instant when we're on FaceTime, I get an alert. He has sent the deposit and he put it down. He's like, this day, can you make it happen? And they're like, my wife, I had to drive to the next state over because he's like, my wife is gonna be in a convention in Vegas for work. He's like, and we're from Alaska. So she's gonna be there. He's like, were you willing to drive up there and hand out the pup at the airport? If it's too much, I'm willing to pay for gas, whatever. I waived all that, because he was serious. And sure enough, me and the wife, I was like, hey, it's a Vegas weekend. Let's roll.
There you go.
Yeah. And we met the wife at the airport, and easy transaction, flew back home to Alaska, and man, great family now. They love their dog.
Yeah, yeah, and those that takes down like kind of the barriers, like the walls. What up, Sykes?
Yeah, what
Like
else,
takes
Sykes?
that down, like like you said, it builds the trust. Like, hey, these are real people. They're willing to do this with me, and for both, because buying a puppy too could also be like stressful because they don't know they're getting scammed.
Yeah,
They're vetting most if they're a good buyer, they're vetting us as well, right?
true.
What's up with this person? Is he just this? Or there's a lot of scams out there, right? Is he just this? Or what are they saying? Are they real? Things like that. They're gonna take my money, right? Having the website really changes the game. Yeah, I personally
It
don't have a
helps.
website.
Yeah,
I know it helps, but I'm pretty active on my socials and my Instagram. I think we do really well. Kind of shows everything, right? Like, hey, this is a real person, not just like some breeder, and this
yeah,
guy actually has a life, and he's not just posting dogs, and we don't know who's running it. And if I was trying to scam, I would be a bad scammer. If you also see pictures of, everything about, right? Like, oh, this guy,
yeah.
where he works, where he lives, where his kids go to school, things like that. So I think, when you run it like that, some people, they kind of go a little crazy. I'm like, I don't know what you do, right? It sounds like you do a lot of stuff because I can tell from your pages.
Yeah.
So if you're doing like that, I think, yeah, having the website really helps because then you like follow the website and this is what we do, right? Because I've seen where some people, I'm like, oh, I get it. You're doing the dogs, but then you're, smoking a blunt live. So then I'm like, I don't know what's going like. Or
Yeah.
then you're posting all these food pics tomorrow. So I'm like, wait, what is this? Right. So that kind of stuff helps. Just
Like,
transparency.
yeah, true. Yep. I think that builds trust between both breeder and buyer. Good work. Yes, I
Absolutely.
agree. It does.
Yeah, people would appreciate it. And then you know what? I think too, like phone conversations, um, on FaceTime, that's when you can kind of see too, like, is this somebody I even want to work with? Because maybe they have, you know, you have good dogs and they willing to pay, vice versa, but it's not somebody that you're like, this person like annoys me already. Like, I don't
Yeah.
feel even right. Like, even like you get a salesman, you know what you want to buy, but then the person that comes helps you, you're like, dude, what the hell? Like, I'm
Yeah.
good, right? Or if you ever go to a restaurant, you're like, I wanted this food, but the staff here is like killing my vibe.
Yeah. Yep.
So that I think that helps, a lot. And people sometimes people are better texters than phone calls or language barriers. But I've done some deals like that where we're having to translate stuff in euros to whatever and
Yeah,
English
yeah,
to
true.
this, things like that. So it kind of helps in your, personal and then your business life or work life. You get that experience, right? You kind
Yeah,
of see kind of the people like, judging from my experience, this guy is not gonna, be a good, be a good fit
fit.
for our dogs
Yeah,
or something.
yeah. And I think, as customers too, they should understand that, like you say, we have lives. So sometimes, I get messages that I don't answer right away because whether I'm at work or whatever, but I get to them whether it's an hour, 2 hours later, and
Yeah,
I think that helps too. They're like, oh, damn, and you don't have to explain it, but I usually say, you know what, sorry, it took me so long to get back to you, but you know what, I do have a job I gotta attend. That's the one that pays the
yeah.
bills.
What about I'm gonna ask you, Dennis, and then if anybody in the chat or throw it in the comments, like what are like the weird ones, like the DMs or the emails or the messages that like they expect you to message them, but they don't like say much, right? They just say like how much or got pups or
Yeah, got pups.
like puppies question mark, like
Yeah,
they say
and then they put
I
the
want a
the
dog.
the dollar sign. I'm
Yeah,
a, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And then you start
Sup?
asking questions, and then I've gotten this. Oh, can your dog win in a fight between a pit bull and an American bulldog? And I'm like, bro, I don't fight dogs, huh?
Yeah.
you know?
And then I give like hypotheticals into like if I was walking down the street and I seen another dog, would the dog bite me, bite the dog, or like protect me? I'm like, what are you talking about? Is this
Yeah.
real? And sometimes I think people are just probably just trolls, or I don't know, bots or your competition, maybe. People text. That's crazy,
Yeah,
man.
Martin.
That's the kind of shit that gets your page flagged, bro. People text me, got any black girls? You
Like,
see,
damn,
that's what I'm
Martin, what
saying.
you running up there, man?
Yeah. Then they see if not, and if not, got brown ones, right?
He's like, you got a chocolate one?
See, that's the thing, bro. Somebody called me last Sunday at 4:59 a.m. asking about a pup. And yeah, and then
Hey,
people gotta
see?
be considerate because you don't know, like they could be in your same time zone or not, and they're just like not even like, oh, I just think it's a good time to call. Like, bro, schedule like a call, like, or do your homework at least, because most of it is personal phones.
Yeah.
Who's over there snoring,
Yeah.
knocked out,
That's true.
throwing pedos in the covers, like, and he's getting phone calls.
Yeah.
You see, and then whoever you got a wife or a girl, she's like, "Who's that?"
Yeah, right
That's
away. Like,
for
why you guys be
him,
texting you so
man.
early?
Why they text you about black girls?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
man.
for sure. I usually, if I get calls like that, they're coming or text, they're coming from overseas where the time zone is different.
Yeah,
And
but I get mostly messages. Calls
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. No,
I
another
was
one
like,
too. You know what I feel is bad business between breeders is when they start talking badly about another breeder just to gain customers,
yeah, that's crazy.
right? That
Yeah, that happens. I told you when I first started, first thing people were like, I talked to somebody and they're just like talking shit. I'm like, dude, what's going on? I don't even know you. And you're just like saying all these bad things about like all these people. I don't know are they true or not, but I was just new to like, trying to talk to people and they were saying like just crazy stuff. I'm like, okay, thanks. I appreciate it. Like,
like I
so
didn't
about
call
the
you for
puppy.
that. I called for a
Yeah,
dog.
yeah, caught about you. You're just telling me you didn't tell me not one thing about your program. You just told me about everybody else's
Everybody else.
program.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, kind of weird. You get those people, and it's weird because now knowing what I know and being here for a few years now, the people that it was, I'm like, dang, that's crazy.
Yeah. It happens, right?
Yeah, I thought you
It
were
might be people that
established.
you think you were cool with. You're like, yeah, we're cool. And then they talking behind
Yeah,
your back. Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
and we did see some of that, right? That was some of that because they didn't know who was who, and I'm like, damn, we were talking about so and so over here. some either high as a kite or drunk at that time. That's when they have ideas about my. Yeah, see, that's when it sounds good. That's when they're
Yeah.
willing to spend money, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like we're real people.
Yeah.
They sounded high as fuck. Yeah, see, like, and it's like, yeah, that's like when you're shopping your Amazon card or whatever, you're putting stuff together, lowballing people on Marketplace, right, and offer up. Man, I've been on Marketplace a lot. That's why I'm bringing it up.
See, we got C dude on Instagram. He's like, I was told by a breeder I have to leave the older dogs outside for a while and the girl AB pup to sleep with us to form a closer bond. To me, that seemed extreme.
That was probably the worst thing he could have done because then as soon as those dogs get in there, they're gonna come look for that puppy.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Yeah,
No, I don't. That's crazy. First thing I hear. I introduce the dogs, and
yeah. And your dog's gonna bond with you. You don't need to be doing that.
sleeping
Like
with it.
sleeping in. Even your kids, people are like, oh, I gotta do the bonding. Like your kid knows you're the dad. They're gonna be stuck to you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So, but I could see Riley where they were coming from, but maybe they had like like less experience. So yeah, you should separate them at first. Like when you don't just let the puppy loose with your other 400 pounds of dogs you have, that could be
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, gradually. Some people start the process before. I had people ask me like for a blanket or something like of the
Yeah.
dog.
Just the scent. Yeah.
And those people are doing their due diligence to make sure that they're set up for success. Um, but I've heard like some weird stuff to do, and I'm like, I don't know how to
No,
do that.
definitely. What about Miss representation of dog quality? Think that's bad business?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
the thing is back.
you
People hype
got
it up.
yeah, you're selling pet quality dogs and saying high quality breeding dogs,
Yeah.
show dogs, and
Yeah. Yeah. Champion bloodlines. I'm like, who's the champion in those? Those none of those dogs have been to a dog show. Why are you saying champion bloodlines? And
because
then you find out it's
it's
like
10 pedigrees in the back of the pedigrees, 10
yeah,
generations back.
it's
Yeah.
10, yeah, it's like some dog that's never gonna come out. I've seen that, and sometimes, and it's not even like in the breeding. I just think it's bad for business because, like you said, it's a misrepresentation. You're selling these dogs based off of something that they most likely don't possess,
Yeah.
right? And they'll never be because that's somebody like far back, and you're using that or using somebody's like lines or dogs. Like this is the grandson of the. I'm like, yeah, but who's the mom?
Yeah.
Right? Is Mike Tyson the granddad? You see, that's what I'm saying. Like, is Mike Tyson? Then they refer to you like that. And that's kind of when you could see, like, even as a breeder or as like a buyer, too, like something's off. Because if I feel like if they like are highlighting that so much, like, oh, this is the cousin of this dog. This is Michael Jordan's step brother's nephew. It's like so you could get a social. Like, oh, but that doesn't mean nothing. Most of these guys Tom Brady has a brother too. Like but everybody that doesn't make him that, right?
Yeah.
Just the way things goes. But I sometimes I see when they push that and then they're like showing those dogs. I'm like, well, technically those dogs aren't really related, and you're showing those dogs to the buyer, like, show the actual mom and the dad, show the brother and sister, like show what you have, not with the breeder that bought it from another breeder that bred it to some guy on down the block, sold you.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not. What do you have,
Yeah.
sir
Show
or ma'am?
like exactly.
Yeah,
Show the mom and the dad. Don't show the great grandparents pictures. Like, oh, this is my
yeah,
dog. Nah.
yeah. Or just show one side of the pedigree. I'm like, okay, cool, cool, cool. Who's the mom though of the dogs? Like, oh, this is a stud. More time Miyagi dog be looking like Jackie Chan. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
See?
Yeah, and it's like, and then you're thinking like, oh, it's a Miyagi that you think is Mr. Miyagi, and it's actually like another Miyagi that's half Chihuahua that they named that, right?
Yeah.
It's not even the one. It's not even the one you thought, right? It's
Yep.
like, dang, that's another thing. I think that's not good because then like, that's bad for the breed, and then it's bad for also the business, and you know,
Yeah. And you know what? Another one too, to me, and this is the one that I feel that it kind of really puts the breeder out there kind of like, yeah, that's what, if you have your like poor kennel conditions, you're telling me, man, what conditions you having these dogs? How are you taking care of these dogs? And we seen it, online where, this guy is all on social media posting pictures and all this, and then animal control goes to his house because somebody reported him, and they start showing pictures, dogs in feces that they haven't cleaned those kennels in I don't know how long, and then you're like,
Yeah.
and I sold this guy a dog, thinking he was a good guy, and that
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah, because then they're like faking it. And then there's some people that do that intentionally, like
Yeah,
knowing damn well they're doing bad, but they're gonna just show only certain things, right?
yeah,
And then we've seen the other. Well, I know you and I have spoke about it too. When like you see people like promoting dogs or the breedings or the puppies, and like unintentionally they're showing us the living conditions, and you're like, damn, like you can't see. Like if you're posting this for us to see, I can only imagine like what you're not gonna show us because you
yeah.
like it's not clicking to you that this is wrong, right? Like they shouldn't be looking like this, or they shouldn't be in here. Like that's like you're okay
Like,
with showing
why
it.
do you have them in your kitchen where you
Yeah.
cook? You put your vegetables in the counter, and you're showing the dog there.
And it's full of caca paws, got crap all
Yeah,
over,
yeah,
and yeah, or you're feeding them right there, like just kind of crazy, right? It's kind of nasty for you, but also then the dog's like, damn, poor dog, like they're in this kind of like filth or like, and then puppies too. A lot could happen, they get stuck in places, they eat stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, it's just got to be a safe environment for them. But yeah, I've seen some where they send like post pictures. I'm like, damn, those poor dogs, they look emaciated, and they're talking about, you know, $1,000 our best offer. I'm like, bro, call Siaka. That's how about I just send you some dog food or something?
yeah.
They
Like,
need some
just feed the
like,
dog here. Yeah,
yeah, just feed them or like it's and it's rough. And again, it's not fair for the dog, and it's not fair for other people. Um, it's just it's a lot to it, and people in breeding already get like have enough like a rough enough time and get bad
yeah,
names, right? The first thing I'm sure anybody's had this where they're like, oh, blah blah. Oh yeah, we have this dog and we breed them, and everybody looks at you like, "Ugh,
yeah.
what do you, right? There's like kind of like I've had that where they're like, you what? What do you mean? Like, oh, that's no, that's not. I'm like, no, not like that, dude. This is, I just have this is something that we do. Um, and there's people that do an amazing job of it, right? And there's some people do a crappy job.
Yeah, yeah. And you know
But
what? It is hard work, especially when you have a regular life, a 9 to 5 job where you're busting your ass, and then you get home. It's like, man, I just want to relax. No, well, you have dogs, you got responsibilities. Go out there
yeah,
and shovel poop and whatever it is, feed them, make sure.
go on the walk, you open that door, and get hit with all the smell, and you're like,
Yeah,
here we go. Then you have puppies, and they're like, everybody's got to eat, and you got to do all that stuff before you can do your
yeah,
own thing, right?
yep,
It's rough, but it's fun, and a lot of things, time goes into it, and you know, everybody wants to be a breeder until it's time to do breeders. Yeah,
yep.
that breeder
It's
shit is
true.
hard until it's time
It
to
is.
pick up shit.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah.
good
It's
until it's
all
like,
lovely
huh?
the first second week. You're like, oh man, let those puppies
Oh,
start pooping. Man, you're like, shit.
easy money, right?
Yeah,
Then
yep.
you feed them that first, their first little mush.
Mush, yeah,
Oh, that's a wrap.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a wrap right there. Then they start crying, they start moving around, they kick the water down. Then the
yeah,
mom's already like not gonna clean them as much.
yep,
Then this fool's are teeth because they're eating now, so they want to start biting. Then the mom's like, I'm out of here, but still got a few more weeks, right?
yeah, yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's rough.
And you know what?
Um,
Jose made a post today. I think it was today about you know how much you put into your program when it comes to breeding, like all the endless nights of sleep and all this stuff, right? And then you quote your pups at certain price, and people get offended for that. Like, no, you're offending me because now you're questioning me. And I think Jose on his post said there's a certain way you could ask, like, oh, I think this is out of my budget, or okay, it's understandable.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, because there's cars that cost $1 million, and there's cars you could get them for $1,500, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean like, hey, whatever is this just not in your budget, right? It's like,
Yeah.
and that's okay. But I'm not gonna walk into some like, I think this is overpriced and I should get it for this one. Like,
Yeah. No.
no, this is just not. Yeah, this is not.
That's not
Sorry.
how it works. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, there's this diamond ring. I've seen another one for cheaper. I think it should be that price, and I don't agree with the pricing. Like, you don't know how we got it. You don't know where it came from.
You don't know the
Like,
quality of it. Yeah.
yeah, like, dude. And where do you go like that where you can just negotiate pricing? Like,
Yeah.
think about it. You go to McDonald's, even if you're like, damn, it's too much. What do? Either go somewhere else or you just pay for
Or
it.
you're gonna buy it. Yep.
Yeah, you go to the gas station. Oh shit. Okay, then take the bus. I don't know what to tell you. Like, this the price right now. No one's getting ripped off. It's just the price is the price, and today's price isn't tomorrow's price. I have people too, like, oh,
True.
you said this much. I'm like, man, that was 2 years ago. That was not even these same dogs, right? And
Yeah.
and that was for that dog at that particular litter at that particular time. That's it.
Yep.
You know, like,
You
hey,
know, I
price is
had
subject to
customers.
change.
I had customers where they hit me with all these questions, right, about the dogs. They want a certain color and all this, and then we leave it as that, and then they'll hit you up with the same questions,
Yeah,
asking if the price is this, and I stand behind my pricing, and
yeah,
I
me
think
too.
you're in the same ballpark. So they go
Hmm.
back and forth thinking, oh, well, I might get it cheaper here or there, but it's funny. And then we talk and we're like, hey, have you gotten hit up by this person such?
Yeah,
You're like, oh yeah, I talked to her. Like, bro, she's asking me the same question she asked you,
yeah,
probably.
yeah. Yeah, the same thing. And then people start comparing, like, oh, also it's between American Bulldog and Basset Hound. What can you tell me? I'm like, I am any other breed. Like, there's what am I? Like,
Yeah.
use
They hit me up.
ChatGPT, Google.
Yeah.
Like, what?
They're
I
like,
don't
oh, I
know.
want to get an American Bulldog from you maybe in 2 years, but what do you know about the Bull Mastiff? Will they get along? Like, I don't breed Bull Mastiff. I don't know.
Yeah, and then I could tell you, but I don't know where you're gonna get it from. So that doesn't mean it's gonna be exactly how I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So yeah, I've seen that. And then a lot of times those people that do that are like the ones who are like, then they want to haggle, right? I'm like, dang, we just spent an hour and a half and I answered all these questions because, hey, I get it. And then you're like, oh, how much? Okay, well, how about you take 1,000 off of that? What? Why would I do that? I don't. What are you? I don't understand. This is the price. I know, but I feel like what? No, it's just crazy. But I mean, I guess it's worth a try. I'm sure if you ask for a discount enough times, you're gonna get it,
Yeah.
right? Not everybody has to accept it, but then we know. And then if other people talk to each other, like, hey, this person, if they ask, bro, this is what they. Oh yeah, actually, they just asked me. Copy and paste what they asked you.
Yeah.
And I get it doing your homework, but then sometimes it's kind of like, are you, or you're just
True.
trying to get,
That's true.
I don't know what your end game is because you've been doing this for 2 years. We have people 2 years that's been doing that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's true.
and I'm like, hey, I'll answer you every time. I won't ignore it, right? I
Yeah.
answer you every time. But at a certain point, when is it like, all right, what's going on here, right?
And I think I've told you, man, I was like, I hope she gets a dog from you because I don't want to deal with her no more.
So I'm like, hey, send her over there, right? And whatever. But that person, I don't even know if they watch the podcast. Next time I'm gonna send them, I'm like, look at all these questions, just watch all these episodes.
Yeah.
You'll get the answer. It's a lot of hours of us talking, but the answers are in there. But it's cool to help people and talk to people because people have taken the time, to talk to me, right? And
True. Yeah.
you learn stuff, and then some people haven't. And I've been in a situation where hey, question, right? And I've had the first time I was like, trying to, get some dogs I called the few breeders. They're still breeding today, and they're like, yeah, oh, the X amount of dollars, be ready this date, one female. All right, bye. And I'm like, what? Wait, what? Like,
yeah.
All right,
damn,
like
I don't
damn.
even
I'm
know
like,
if I want to buy a dog from you now. Like,
yeah. And you know what? I now knowing what I do, I'm glad I never did with that person, but also that's what helped me like not get it because I was like, oh, it's not even about the dogs, like just that person. I'm like, yeah, I'm good, right?
yeah,
Like I couldn't see, but there was a few people that I did talk to, like took some time. Obviously, you were one of them, answered some questions. There's some cool people. Richard was really cool in the beginning. We chopped it up for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, we just some people you just kind of click, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, us a little more. What are the chances we do the same thing for a
For a
career
living.
and shit? That
Yeah.
was a bunch of other things were matching. I'm like, what the hell
That's
was
true.
that? Step brothers, like, what, did we just become best friends? It was kind of those things like, wait, what? Like, what do you do? Where at? What the hell? Like, what are the fucking odds?
That's
So
true.
that
It's
was,
like what?
like that's kind of, yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Same dogs and everything. So,
That's
that's
cool.
pretty cool. But you meet, people like them.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, Gabriel, and I don't know if this has happened to you. Whether when you have worked with another breeder and let's say they want to use one of your studs, they come over, they bring their females, you're like, all right, cool. You do the breeding goes down and you already told them how much was your stud fee. Breeding goes down, and then you know, I don't know if it's happening, at night, during the day, and then they're trying to hackle you for the price to go down. Like, hey, you can give me a discount. Or like, well, the dog's already tied, so my price was already set. Like, what's going on?
Oh man, that has happened to me. That has happened to me, and that was like, kind of that was like pretty early on that it happened to me. Um, but yeah, I'm sure people could figure it out. But yeah, we messaged, came over to my house. It was at night, last minute. Hey, I'm available, right?
Yeah,
Um, whatever I can do to help, and I'm not, whatever I can do to, make some money and do some stuff that I'm into. Hey, I'm willing, right? It was a
yeah,
good opportunity. I had the person, come over to my house. They brought their female. Went in the back. We were in the front trying to get them to tie. Went in the backyard. So they could do their thing. And they were like, okay, cool. Obviously, if you're here in the backyard, we were like you said, like the deal was done. The price was set. The deal was done. These dogs were, mounting each other. That's
yeah,
it. Like there's no going back. And then at that moment, that person was like trying to negotiate while the dogs are like on top of each other. I'm like, wait a second. Like, nah, this was the price. We agreed. And then they started telling me, like, well, it's because this. And I'm like, I get it. But like that, whatever, that didn't change before this, that you had PG'd and did all these tests and blood work, 20 times before you got here, regardless if you use my dog or not. That's what it costs, right? I think some people don't realize that too. Like sometimes you spend like $200-300 just that week of leading up to it, right? That's
yeah.
without the stud fee. So I think, then it starts, you don't think about that and, kind of gets out of hand real quick, 50-50-50 every time you do PG, right?
And
Or
that's on the
60,
low.
80. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a low. That's, that it's usually 80. You go to somewhere else, it's like 80, right?
yeah,
So then their dogs are trying to do the deed. And yeah, they're just like going back and forth. I'm like, look, man, like either we're gonna get it done for this or like not, like here's a gate. Like we could just,
you,
I'm
you're you're
good.
you're out there grabbing your males. Like, hold
Yeah.
on, don't
Yeah. I
go
was like,
it.
wait a second. I was like, put that thing away. You're gonna
Yeah,
do this or not. And it was to that point. So we ended up getting we ended up agreeing, but like I said, that guy he felt some kind of way or thought maybe, he could negotiate it out of it. Dennis helped me out too there. The dog ended up staying with me overnight. We went to clinic. For sure it was good. He had
and she had a
puppies.
litter.
Yeah, she had a litter, and then I got blocked. I mean, we paid, like you don't have to be friends after, but I just thought that was kind of weird. And then I got blocked after the puppies came. Nobody owes nobody nothing, but I did think that was,
That is
just a
weird.
little, yeah, just a little weird. I think, breeders have probably egos. And so like, hey, you don't got to give credit to nobody. Like that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Or think too, like I think sometimes people think like, oh, if I use your stud, then you have to promote me.
Mm,
Unless you make a deal,
yeah.
right? Like the stud fee is a stud fee. Now, if you say like, oh, and I promise you promotion or I guarantee you a sale, okay, then make a contract,
Where it
right?
states
Stating
that,
like,
yeah.
hey, you're gonna repost 5 posts for me, and you're gonna, give me 2 stories, and you'll send me 5 customers,
Yeah.
right? For the stud fee of whatever. That okay, I'm sure people have done that. That wasn't part of my deal,
Yeah,
right?
no, no, it's true. And then and if you repost their stuff, just like, hey, use my cool one time. Doesn't guarantee that you're gonna keep doing it every time they bring in a new post and stuff, It's like,
Yeah, yeah. Then it's like, all right, I could only do so much, right?
yeah, true.
then it's like, hey, that's my feet too, right? So it's like, one of those things. But yeah, that's happened to me in real life, and that was funny in retrospect. But yeah, so now that dog has grandkids. That's the only time I bred that dog. I don't have him anymore. He's still alive though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
I don't
cool.
have him anymore.
No, but hey, I think this was a good one, Gabriel. We had the viewers, participating, and I think this was a topic that we could continue further down the line a little, in another episode, because there's a lot of stories out there still that situations and that had happened that we haven't brought up to light and stuff. But
Oh yeah,
that'll be for another episode. Thanks,
yeah,
for the viewers, guys, thanks for being on the chat, and we'll catch you guys next Wednesday.
yeah. We appreciate you. Appreciate everybody's interactions. We love you.
All right, see you next Wednesday, guys.
All right, man. Have a good night.